Hi, this is MJ from ConnectGlutenfree.com. Thank you so much for joining me. This week's video is going to be one of my favorite recipes, and I know you're going to enjoy it as well. When my husband and I first started dating back in the day, I was explaining to him about being gluten-free and what it meant and all that, and he actually knew plenty of people who were gluten-free long before meeting me, which was pretty shocking to me, but very exciting as well. He told me that one of his favorite chocolate cake recipes is actually a gluten-free chocolate cake, and he loves it so much. And then he really surprised me by telling me that one of the main ingredients on this cake is garbanzo beans, something I never dreamed possible, but it is true. Today I'm going to show you his garbanzo bean chocolate cake recipe. So let's get started on this chocolate garbanzo bean gluten-free cake. So the first thing I've done today is I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Secondly, I have greased and dusted my 9-inch baking pan with cocoa powder. Of course, you can do this with gluten-free flour, but I'm a firm believer that you can never have too much chocolate. So personally, I like to dust mine with cocoa powder. Our first ingredient today is 1.5 cups of gluten-free chocolate chips. Now, of course, the 1.5 cup measurement is after the fact that I've already eaten about a 1/2 cup separate. So you need to still have 1.5 cups even after you're snacking on the chocolate chips. Thanks to the wonderful technology of video today, I am going to go melt my chocolate chips in my microwave, and I'll be right back. Well, I'm back from the exciting trip over to the microwave. I've got the melted chocolate here ready to go. However, what we're going to do is our next step is to take our garbanzo beans, which is about 1.5 cans of rinsed and drained garbanzo beans. We're going to put them in our food processor, along with our 4 eggs. And we're going to go ahead and pulse this until it's nice and smooth. Isn't that quick and easy? Our next step is we're going to add our 1/2 teaspoon of gluten-free baking powder. Finally, we're going to add our 3/4 cup of sugar. So all this wonderful chocolate wonderfulness, and yet only 3/4 cup of sugar. That's a pretty good deal. Now it's ready to add our chocolate. Careful, the bowl is still a little on the hot side, so you'll want to go ahead and be quick about adding your chocolate to the garbanzo bean mixture. And I am scraping the bottom of my bowl, trying to get every drop of chocolate that I can possibly get into the garbanzo beans. Once again, we're just going to attach our lid and process till it's nice and combined. Now, since this is our final mix, I want to go ahead and scrape down the sides of the bowl just to make sure I'm getting all the goodness in. And then do one final. That is a fast and healthy cake mix compared to a lot of products sold out on the market. So now it's ready to go into our cake pan. Remember, whenever you're pouring out of your food processor, you want to hold the middle piece so it doesn't pop out on you. You were just pouring it in there. And now you're ready to go ahead and place it in your preheated oven for about 35 to 40 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Well, our cake is out of the oven and it is cooled. Now, not completely cool, but pretty cool. What I'm going to do real quick is take 1 cup of simmered heavy cream and add it to 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. What I'm doing here is I'm creating a ganache to cover the cake with. I'm just going to let it sit for 5 minutes, not even touch it. Meanwhile, I'm going to take a moment and flip my cake. Now, as I mentioned, it is a little on the warm side, so I'm going to put this right here. take my cake, and now's the point where I'm going to start getting very nervous about flipping it, because anybody who's ever flipped a cake knows it's always easier said than done. So here we go. Sounds like it did. Tap it out, and there you go. We have flip success. Now, for the next 5 minutes, thanks to the wonderful video, I'm going to be able to let this sit for 5 minutes and we'll come back. It's been 5 minutes and my heated heavy cream has been sitting on top of my chocolate chips. So now I'm just going to start stirring it around. As you see, my beautiful white cream is now getting darker and darker, becoming chocolatey goodness. Just takes a few moments, but trust me, it's worth it. Now, of course, you can make whatever kind of frosting you want for your gluten-free garbanzo bean chocolate cake. However, you also have the option of purchasing gluten-free frosting at the store, which I have done in a pinch, and everybody likes it, so it's a good option. But if you have a few minutes to make some ganache, I highly recommend it. It is a little bit of decadence, and I feel like I can afford to have that decadence simply because, remember, the cake itself, the entire cake only has 3/4 cup of sugar, and it has all those wonderful nutrient garbanzo beans. So it's almost like a freebie. Of course it's not, but in my mind, that's how I justify it. So as you can see, my chocolate chips are all melted, and it's now a beautiful smooth consistency. Finally, the way to finish it off is I have a tablespoon of room temperature butter, and we're just going to add that in there. And now you stir this around until it's nice and combined. This will give it a beautiful velvety texture, and it's going to just make it that much more extremely wonderful. And as you can see, because it is room temperature, the residual heat from the hot heated cream is melting it pretty quickly. I kind of like using a spatula for this because that way I can use it to help smooth it out. But I have also, on other days, I have whisked this through with a nice whisk. We are almost done. We're in the home stretch, guys. Thank you for your patience. Trust me, you're going to love this. Now, I probably have more ganache than I need here. So what I will do is I'll just go ahead and put a nice coating on top, letting some of it come off of the sides. But I will also maybe let it sit for a little while and put a second layer on after it gets a little hardened. So here we go. I'm just going to spread it around a little bit to the edges. And like I said, I like mine to come down the edges just a little bit because, I mean, I want every bite of my garbanzo bean cake to have some wonderful decadent ganache on it. And there you go. It's all set. Ready to enjoy.
2, 3.
So now it's been a couple hours since we put our ganache on our garbanzo bean gluten-free chocolate cake. So as you can see, the ganache is still soft, but it's more set. And now it's ready for the big tasting. Oh yeah. Now that is delicious. Wow. You'd never guess that this cake was actually made with garbanzo beans. So it's a gluten-free treat that people will like, and they don't even have to be gluten-free to enjoy it because it's very sweet, very rich, and downright decadent actually. So make sure you check out our website at connectglutenfree.com for the recipe. Now that I made my husband's favorite cake for dessert, I think he needs to take me out for a night out in the town. I am ready to go. In fact, I've got my dancing shoes on